My maternal grandmother kept a cupboard in her kitchen that was about 7 feet tall and a foot deep, each shelf crowded with glass jars full of preserves, pickled pears, peaches, carrots, green beans, blackberry jam, figs, sauerkraut, and her not-to-be-forgotten chow chow. Who knows what chow chow is? See, that's what I'm talking about. We got some Southerners in here. Well, if you don't know, cabbage, peppers, onions, chopped finely, cooked for about 5 hours, then served as a relish with leafy greens, collards, mustards, turnips, kale, dandelions. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Listen, my grandmother Margie could throw down in the kitchen. You knew she was cooking whenever you entered her house, even if you didn't smell it, because you'd hear singing. Glory, glory, hallelujah. When I lay my burden down, no more Monday, no more Tuesday, when I lay my burden down. Whenever she rolled out the dough for her fried pies, it was, thank you, Mom. It was as if her love and connection to spirit were additional ingredients that she added along with the flour, salt, lard, and water. I started with that memory to call in my ancestors. My name is Bryant Terry, and I am the chef in residence here at the Museum of the African Diaspora. What does that mean? As you know, Moab does not have a kitchen, nor do we have a cafe, but what that means is that I create public programming for the museum. Inspired by the work, so let me just take you back really quickly. Back in 1999, I was a graduate student at NYU, and I was doing research on the radical movements of the 60s and the 70s, and I learned a lot more about an organization that I'm sure some of you, maybe most of you know about, the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense. Y'all know about them? Come on now, we're in the Bay Area. Y'all don't know about the Black Panthers? If not, we might need to do a little teach-in tonight. But inspired by that work and understanding that we're dealing with some of the same issues that they were addressing, the intersection of poverty, malnutrition, institutional racism, the same issues that they brilliantly responded to with their cutting-edge programs like their grocery giveaways, where they were giving away thousands of pounds of groceries to poor residents in the Bay Area, and the one that I'm sure most of you heard about, the free Breakfast for Children program. Y'all know about that? Started in 1969, where with the help of a reverend in West Oakland, California, the Black Panthers are feeding children a hot, nourishing breakfast every single morning. Does anybody disagree with the simple and compassionate act of feeding young people a hot, nourishing breakfast every single morning? Do you know who disagreed with that? The director of the FBI at the time, J. Edgar Hoover. He argued that that program made the Black Panthers the most dangerous internal threat to the security of the United States. So inspired by that work, I started an organization that used cooking as a way to engage young people around food politics, to train them as a cadre of young people who could create more access to healthy food in their community, to educate their peers. But what I found is that it wasn't just young people living in food deserts, living in the most impacted communities, living in historically marginalized communities who are hungry for this information. People like the same people sitting in this room who have family members that are dying too young, that are sick too soon, and that deal with heartbreak because these are things that we shouldn't have to deal with, wanted this information too. So Linda Harrison, in her brilliance, invited me to curate programming that dealt with these issues. The first program we had was Black Women, Food and Power, in which I brought scholars and cookbook authors and food writers to the museum. We talked about the historical and contemporary role of Black women in the production and distribution and consumption of food and food knowledge. We had a dinner in the lobby of the museum for 75 people in which we traced food from East Africa down to the South, to the West, to the Caribbean, to the American South, and we ended with dessert in West Oakland with bean pies as a shout out to the Black Panther, the Nation of Islam. You know what I'm talking about. So people are hungry for this information. We're feeding people with not only knowledge, but food that carries history, that carries memories, and this program has been vitally successful, so I invite you to support all the public programming, support the chef in residence, and please continue supporting MOAD. Thank you.